Hello, everybody. My guest today is Chris Mann. He has over 25 years of experience in product management and strategy. In 2010, he joined Bizzo and created a marketing automation system for B2B paid advertising and led the company through its $175 million acquisition by LinkedIn. He was also involved in leading product strategy for LinkedIn's advertising business. Prior to Bizzo, Chris held product leadership roles at IBM and Core Metrics. Today, he is a founder CEO leading BrightFunnel. Chris, are you ready to take us to the top?
Yo, Nathan, excited to be here. I sure sound old with that long track record.
No, man, you look fresh, you look hip, you look cool. It's all good. So tell us real quick, I want to get some clarity on something. You said you led Bizzo through the acquisition. Were you like head of BD there, or were you the founder, or what was your role there?
Yeah, so hope I didn't say it that way. So I was head of product, started when there was 15 people, and was a key executive on the team as we grew the company. Best time of my life, man.
So I want to get in your brain, right, to understand where your head was at when you launched BrightFunnel. Part of that is, an entrepreneur, whenever they launch a company, they have to look at risk. Like, I have 3 kids. I have to have this much in savings before I do this in case it fails so I can put food on the table, that kind of stuff. Where was your brain prior to launching BrightFunnel? In other words, were you early enough at Bizzo where the financial reward of the exit was enough to basically give you security so you could go take another big risk?
No. Well, so what happened at BrightFunnel for me was that I began advising BrightFunnel when there was about 18 people in the company. We're about 45 now.
Okay.
And so that was while I was at LinkedIn after the acquisition of Bizzo. And Nadeem Hussain, the CEO at the time, and I became good friends, and we decided that I should join the company when my time at LinkedIn was over. So I joined as head of product, and we planned a transition where I take over as the CEO seat. So I took over in the CEO seat here in April. So that was my path to the CEO seat. That's a difficult bridge to cross that you're talking about in terms of going from 0 to 1, and people have family and that kind of thing. And I would have loved to have done that. But all of the pieces were never in place for me to make that type of a jump.
Did you have to stay at LinkedIn? Was there an earn-out component to that sale, which mean you had to stay there for a while?
Oh, yeah.
What was it like? Is LinkedIn? Look, this is a side question, but I think it's relevant for my audience. I'm using LinkedIn pretty aggressively now in terms of republishing content. I'm starting to see like some changes where I'm getting more engagement. It's actually, it's interesting. I'm getting more engagement in some cases than I am on Facebook and other outlets. Will they ever have a really mature, dominant advertising platform to the likes of what Facebook has, in your opinion?
Well, from the scale standpoint, no. Like it's a B2B focused audience. The audience of professionals that they go after are, high talent, high income professionals. So, as opposed to janitors on the far end of the spectrum, those types of audiences aren't on LinkedIn. So the scale will never get to Facebook where anybody in the world can get value out of Facebook, right? However, what's so rad about LinkedIn is that data set that they have. They know skills, they know the content you're interested in, they know your job history, they know your education, they know the people that you network with. So you can imagine from an advertising standpoint, that's super powerful. And in fact, not just advertising, but figuring out, who the hell you should be advertising to and what kinds of companies you should target. So that's going to be a very powerful, always on part of the B2B marketers' ad budget for a long time.
Interesting. And then help me understand, was it just the relationship with Nadeem at BrightFunnel that led you in, or were you part of the last funding round they did, and it was contingent upon them bringing in a CEO, or like what were some of the other levers being pulled?
Yeah, well, so I was part of the ad game for 8 years, right? And so when you're thinking a lot about advertising, you're thinking a lot about how to prove or understand or measure the value of advertising. So back at Bizzo, we started building something like BrightFunnel that tries to understand all of the touches with the key people and the key accounts that lead to pipeline and revenue, right? Yep. And so when we got to LinkedIn, we actually acquired a company called FlipTop, where we wanted to repurpose that team and build this kind of thing for advertising. So a BrightFunnel for advertising. And so as I got to know BrightFunnel, I'm like, holy shit, this is way more complicated than I had suspected. And you need to have kind of a Switzerland, if you will, for doing attribution or marketing measurement, where, LinkedIn should not be the company that you go to have them prove the value of their advertising.
Yep.
Nor should Facebook, right? You need a platform that measures all of that. And for B2B marketing, you also need to be able to look at offline things, like what happens at events and road shows and so forth. So it's a much bigger problem. And I saw this thing, and I know B2B marketing so well, and you could just start to see all of the different things you could build off of a platform like this and a data set. So I couldn't turn my mind off,
So Nadeem, dude, I mean, what about, I think there were two other co-founders. I mean, are they still at the company, and were they kosher and cool with you coming in as well? The reason I'm asking is that there's usually conflict when this kind of thing happens, and I'm curious if there was, and if so, how you resolved it, and how you're growing, now relative to getting over any conflict that might have existed.
Yeah. Well, to a certain extent, in a forum like this, I probably don't want to get into all of the details of the transition and how that happened. I would say that it's hard to have something. I would imagine that it would be difficult. We must be a case study in how to do this, because Nadeem and I work together every day. He's, executive chairman on the board. He's doing business development for us. He's doing some opening doors in his network. So, the transition has been very smooth and to a certain extent planned, but not fully. Over my time here, I've built a lot of credibility and great relationships with all of the executives. Mm-hmm. So,
are Ron, John, and Nishith part of that executive team? Are they still with the company or no?
Yeah,
they are.
Yeah. So everything's tight, man. I'm not bullshitting you. It's really happening here. We just had a record quarter. People are all excited.
What's that mean? You can't come on my show and say record quarter without attaching numbers to it. What's that mean?
Yeah, so 151% of revenue plan. Revenue was 3 times new ARR was 3 times that of what it was over first quarter. A lot of things are happening. Right?
You mean Q1 of the same of 2017 or of last year, 2016?
Of 2017.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
We blew it up this quarter.
And give us a sense of, so you joined in you said 2015 or 2016?
I was advising in late 2015 and walked in the company in January of this year.
Okay, so we haven't spent much time because I was focused on the story, but the company was launched, I think, in late 2012, early 2013. Yep. But for people that don't know, tell us what BrightCove does. What BrightFunnel does.
Yeah. So, marketing is the second biggest, budget line item on the P&L, mm-hmm. right? And so it's important that the CEO understands and optimizes that spend. Mm-hmm. Very big priority. Yet, when you look at what's happening in marketing today, B2B marketing is where our focus is there isn't a measurement platform that stitches and can see every single touch that marketing has on a prospect and an account all the way through the buyer's journey. Mm-hmm. So BrightFunnel puts this data together and presents it in a way that is really easy to understand, and then lets marketers do optimization. So you can do things like, okay, wow, I'm getting all these leads from Facebook. The cost per lead for advertising on Facebook is super low. And it looks like from LinkedIn that the cost per lead on LinkedIn is much higher. So I should put more budget to Facebook. This is how, without this kind of system, the marketers would think. Now, when you can tie all of those Facebook leads and LinkedIn leads down to pipeline and revenue, you say, holy shit, the cost per revenue on LinkedIn is lower than the cost per revenue on Facebook.
And that metric is typically like dollar spent for a new dollar of ARR.
Yeah, exactly. So It goes on. You're looking at events, and you're looking at road shows and your content and the interplay with
ARPU expansion over time, cohort analysis.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you got it, man. You got it.
Interesting. Okay, and then so what's the business model? Is it SaaS based? I imagine.
Yeah. It's a annual subscription. You know, our I know you like the numbers. So
Give it to me. Don't even
yeah.
make me ask. Save me the air. What can you tell me?
I'm super excited. Like our average ASP this last quarter was 93K, which is great for a cloud company.
That's average selling price. That's annual.
Annual, yeah,
Okay.
annual, yeah.
And is that reflective of historical data as well, or has that been like doubling or tripling year over year?
It's I believe it was 60K coming out of Q1.
Okay.
So we're moving up market. We're finding that the larger organizations, Concur is a customer of ours. They have 150 marketers that touch and use the product across the globe, and so we're finding that we have a bigger impact, better success rate, more revenues.
Yeah.
Similar customer support costs as a 50-person company, so we're wanting to play in these companies that are 1,000 people and higher.
Yeah, so there's a lot of good volatility happening, right? Where it was 60K, it said Q1, it's like increased by almost like a third, right, up to 90. So maybe a better question would be, if you look at all your historical data back to 2013, I mean, what's the average ARR per one of your customers, and is that based mainly on number of seats or what parts of the product they have turned on?
So you're asking, if I look at the whole book of business, what is the average ARR?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, what's all your customers?
On balance now. On balance, so we no longer take a deal for less than 30K. When the company started, annual subscription 30K. When the company started, they were scrapping for. You're just trying to get a customer.
Yeah. So what's the average if you look across the whole base?
Yeah, I think it's about 50K right
About 50K. Okay, that's pretty healthy. So that's enough to warrant an inside sales team, correct?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
You have 45 people now. What's the breakdown between engineering and versus sales and marketing?
Yeah. So we are about a third engineering. We have a pretty heavy marketing team because we're a marketing organization. I think there's 8 in marketing. That includes our SDRs. Okay. So we count the SDRs in that. And then the sales team is now 6 sales folks, which is lightweight. For historical reasons, we've been slower in building up that organization.
And what's the weirdest thing you've done? Don't tell me like Facebook ads or LinkedIn ads or inbound marketing or whatever, but what's the weirdest thing you guys have done to acquire customers?
The weirdest thing? I don't know. The fun part is just walking in and telling them that we're fucking winners. And we make our customers winners. And if you go with us, you're going to be on the right path.
Give me something real though. I mean, was there a weird conference you sponsored or like stickers you printed off or something crazy?
Dana Rothman's our VP of marketing, and she's just very creative. So we were at the Marketo conference. It's a big conference for this space. She had this thing where we brought in a bunch of dogs from the companies, puppies, and there was a puppy corral, and people could come by and see puppies, and just it's like a magnet.
How many leads did you get from that? I'm curious.
I don't know. I'd have to check in BrightFunnel to show you. I don't remember, but we had a lot of hang time. People come over, they pet the dogs. Everyone softens up. Oh, what a lovely little puppy! I love this dog.
So you say, if you want to pet the dog, you give me your business card. That's funny.
That's right. Yeah.
All right. And then, so what about some other economics on this? I mean, what are you spending to acquire one of these customers?
Let's see. So CPL has been, cost per lead has been roughly $59 across all of the programs.
And how many leads do you need for a new sale?
We are converting. I have the pipeline numbers, the revenue numbers in my head, and not the lead counts. So we're converting about. We had a hell of a quarter. We convert about 30% of our pipeline last quarter.
Okay, so you need about, call it 3 or 4 leads to get one new paying customer.
Yeah, we want to have 5x the pipeline every quarter that we feel good if we can have 5x the pipeline every quarter that is ahead of our revenue goal. So
But just to be clear though, Chris, so on a $59 cost per lead, if you get 4 leads, you said you're converting 30%. So if you get 4 leads, which would cost about $236, you're converting one of those into an average selling price of 90 grand.
Yeah, you're asking for metrics that aren't in my head.
What is in your head? Tell me those.
Well, just what I just described. So if we have a pipeline, which is total value of all the opportunities that we track in our system. So let's say we go into a quarter with 300 mil in pipeline.
Yep.
Or 3 mil in pipeline rather. We in last quarter we were able to close. So there's a number for it. We close a third of that. So we close $1 million in new pipeline.
I see.
But we don't want to have it to be that tight. We'd like to have 5x.
What do you mean by 5x? If you have $3 million in your pipeline, you want to close what?
So I would, if I have a $1 million quarter for new ARR, I want to have 5 mil in pipeline.
Oh, got it. You don't want it to be that tight, is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Are those the real numbers? 3 million and 1 million?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah. Interesting. And then, so team size 45. Are you guys all based in San Francisco, or where are you based?
Everybody's here in the city. And now we have 2 people that are remote. One guy's up in Reading, of all places. And then we've got a guy that I hired out of Bizzo who's out in New York now. So one of my former buddies taking on an account executive role, going to be the feet on the street in New York.
That's great. And how many customers are you serving today?
We just crossed the 70 customer mark.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, so you guys are really, there's 2 kinds of SaaS companies, like high volume, low ARPU, or low volume, really, really high ARPU. You guys are very much in the latter.
Yeah, totally.
So, if I take the 70 customer amount times the 50K kind of ASP on average annual selling price, it takes your MR to somewhere around like 300 grand. Is that generally accurate?
And you getting me back here?
Sorry, Chris, you cut out. Did you hear my question?
Yeah, sorry. No, go ahead.
So what I did is I multiplied 70 customers times a $50,000 ASP to assume you guys are doing over $3 million in ARR. Is that generally accurate?
It's a little bit lower than where we are, but yeah, that's close.
That's good.
Close.
That's good.
You're really getting this out of me. I don't want to give all this away.
That's all right. Hey, you just keep smiling.
Dangerous.
Just give me just give me big ranges if you want to stay keep it high level. Last few questions here before we wrap up, because we're running over, but I'm enjoying this. Churn. Do you guys have logo churn monthly, and if so, what is it? And then what's your net revenue churn annually?
Would like to stay away from churn if we can. Yeah, we have churn. We always have more than we want.
Yeah. What's more than you want? Like, what's your target? Don't tell me what you have, but like, what would you like to be below?
Well, 10%, revenue churn or logo churn, sorry.
Annually?
Yeah, we're able to, upsell the account base so that we're never going negative on a quarter in terms of revenue churn.
Yep.
But logo churn, you just hate to lose every one of those customers. But if we can stay at 10%, annual logo churn, that would be where we'd want to be.
And then revenue, kind of ARPU expansion over time. If someone in year 1's paying you $100, what are you usually able to expand that to in year 2? Is it 120? So that's 20% growth, or what?
Yeah. 25%.
It's really, I got that right. Damn, baby, I'm on fire. All right.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, cool. Let's wrap up here, Chris, with the famous 5. Number 1, what's your favorite business book?
There's 2. Hard Thing About Hard Things and High Output Management by Andy Grove.
Number 2, is there a CEO you're following or studying right now?
Well, Russ Glass was the CEO of Bizzo, and he's just ingrained in me. And can't say enough about him. He's just an amazing guy.
Number 3, besides your own, is there a favorite online tool you have?
Favorite online tool that I have? Shit, man, I'm using LinkedIn all the time.
That's good. All right, number 4, how many hours of sleep do you get every night?
I'm working on 9.
Okay, but what are you getting?
7.
7. And what's your situation? Married, single? Do you have kids?
Yeah, 2 kids, dog, great wife.
That's awesome. And how old are you, Chris?
48.
All right, take us back 28 years. What do you wish your 20-year-old self knew?
Um, what do I wish I knew when I was 20 years old? Um, well, this is one of the things that Russ Glass taught me and asked for me was he said,